nerve-wracking little bit in the beginning where you just don't know if things are working right, especially with all of the technology issues I have endured so far. Working through them, so that's good. But welcome back. Thank you so much. This is a refilm of number 10. So for those of you that have paid for the tutorial or participating in the class via the kits, well, you have a URL. You may have watched video number 10. It's not as bad as some of the other technology issues that I have had, but I did have freezing twice, and I don't like that. So I want to try to give a better go at it. So fingers crossed that this one will go smoother. So let's go ahead and move on to the card component. So I see that I am really like wondering if this is going to, okay, well, anyways, it's been really jaggy, so I'm hoping that that's not an issue, and I'm just trying to work through that. But anyways, we'll see. So for those of you that got the kits, so from me, you will have received a Secret C card base and a Secret C mat. Then from the kit, you are going to grab this piece of DSP. I'm going to grab the floral embossed memories and more card, and then all of these pieces. So we've got marquee ephemera, that's what I've been calling them, a circle ephemera. We have laser cut elements that include this tag, this flower, a leaf, and a bow. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to take our pieces and move them off to the side. And we are going to burnish our card base. And then cut our DSP. So for those of you who had the privilege of watching card number 10, the original version, I cut this wrong. So we tried to get creative with the card. So we've got 5 1/4 by 4. That should be correct. A moment of truth, okay? Yay! All right, so that takes care of that one. Then let's go ahead and start now on our dauber. So we're going to grab our Misty Moonlight and our blue dauber, and we are going to make this entire piece blue. So I am very bad at being patient with this. So the Misty Moonlight ink is quite strong. It's maybe not quite the right word for it, but it comes off very dark. And if you are not patient, it gets really dark really fast. So I am trying to get just a little bit of ink on it and then dab it off 2 or 3 times before I even bring it to the paper. Otherwise, it is such a dark color. And then obviously you can always add more ink. You cannot take ink away. So I'm trying. So I do try to start off the paper and then bring it in. That helps as well. And then when I get down to the point where there's barely any ink left on the dauber, then I feel like I can ground it in or press pretty hard on the paper. Yes, it is not perfectly blended. You can see there is some splotchiness, but all in all, that's pretty good, and I'm happy with that. So that takes care of our blending, while I have the ink pad out, we'll go ahead and stamp. So in this card, the only thing we're stamping is Thinking of You. That comes out of the 12 Days of Advent Fun stamp set. There is nothing on the inside except for an embellishment, so we don't need to worry about that. Clock is here, and the Thinking of You is stamped far to the right. Okay, so now we will clean that up, and at this point, I think we should be able to take this out of our way. Okay, now let's do some gluing. I'm going to bring in my liquid glue. We will adhere down the DSP. And then we will adhere the Memories and More card to our mat. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start layering up on this tag. So on the tag, we are going to bring in a 1/8 inch hole punch. And we are going to punch a hole in the top of the tag. And then we are going to take approximately 6 inches of blue twine. That should be way more than enough to allow us to feed it through. So to do that, we're going to fold it in half. So meet the tails and then fold it in half. And we're going to tuck the loop through the hole. And then once we have the loop through, we're going to take the tails and feed them through. And pull. Then you can trim the tails as long as you would like them. Some people like the more long wispy tails. That is completely up to you. I'm going to leave it for now. And the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take my liquid glue and glue down the circle. The thing that I love about this, I was not sold on this. Too many textures, too many different things going on. I didn't love this tag. I didn't love the 3 different panels of textures, and I really didn't love the pop of yellow in the center of these very tiny flowers. Just, it was kind of killing it for me. Well, you go ahead and you put this circle ephemera over the top, and instantly this was coming together. I was a fan of just that step alone. And then Chris started layering in some more ephemera pieces, and she made me into a believer. I didn't think I was going to like this card, and I'm not lying when I say this is one of my favorite cards in the series. So putting dimensionals on the back of the flower and then sticking that down. Then we've got this leaf, which we're going to put a dimensional behind as well. This is a small little design element that I am a huge fan of. So it tucks under the stem, and then using some of that dimensional, we're going to place it on top of the flower. And now it has even more depth because the base of, or like the stem of this leaf is on the bottom layer. So that's 0 dimensional. And then half of the dimensional is on the layer and half is on the flower. So it's kind of like stacking it up 2 and 3 times. So great, beautiful dimension on this tag. That is another element that just ties it all together. Flipping that whole thing over, we're going to put dimensionals behind the whole tag. And then we're also going to be putting glue behind the ephemera. Ephemera piece is going to be adhered onto the Memories and More card. I feel like there potentially is some direction to this card that I missed. I feel like right now it looks like it's upside down. That being said, I do think it's not that big of a deal because so many corners of it are covered. So I think especially when I start layering this up here, I'm going to feel less worried about that. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Then we are going to put dimensionals behind the whole thing. You can see here I have sufficiently run out of dimensional. So at this point, I'm going to bring in my glue scissors that is screaming for a bath. And we're going to make our own dimensionals. These are definitely larger than the mini dimensionals, so I'm not going to worry about using so many of them, but it's a great way to not only not be wasteful, but also to get a little bit more out of your packet dimensionals. Okay, so then this will go centered on our card base. Oh, you guys, I forgot. Okay, so because this is a redo, I was going ahead and recutting everything, and I forgot to do a basic white inside mat. So let's see if I have some basic white here. Is this an inside mat? I feel like it is. Okay, so then we are going to put a bow on the inside. At this point, I'm just recycling a different inside mat. There's a little bit of a crabby friend in there. Bye, crab. And you may notice my card is, wow, crooked. Holy Toledo, I got distracted by the inside, and that is very crooked. So we are going to send up a prayer that I can get this off without ruining it. Oh, deep breath. Okay. Stick it down. Nice and straight this time. Got our inside there, and then we will grab 3 of our gold embellishment pieces, and we will put 1, 2, and 3. My order still has not gotten here, so I am still without a take your pick tool. I'm definitely anticipating that that should be coming tomorrow. I'm hopeful. Okay, then we are going to grab our Stella. I don't know exactly what I want to Stella here. I think I'm honestly just going to add some Stella to all of the embossed parts on the background. Again, if that is what you decide to do, it would probably be easier to do this step before the entire card is put together. However, definitely is doable once it is stuck together, but just takes a little more care and caution. Again, if you want your tails trimmed on your twine that is part of your tag, definitely don't forget to do that. I don't mind it. It is a little bit long though, so I'll bring my ribbon scissor in and shorten them up just a smidge. All right, so that takes care of card number 10. Let's zoom in just a little bit. Give you the final version. Trying to catch all that beautiful Stella. And while we're at it, I am going to prep for card number 11 because there is some drying that needs to happen. So I'm going to grab from kit number 11 the boho. It's the only boho blue piece. Okay, so let's start there. It's the boho blue piece. It's about 4 by 2-ish inches. And then we're going to grab our glitter glue. And we are going to apply a generous amount. Now, again, I told you I did this already. We're just refilming here. So I will tell you from experience that my glitter glue got clogged and I was trying to get it to come through and all of a sudden, poof, the top, shot off. So that wasn't great. So now okay. So I grabbed just a piece of scrap white cardstock. You can also use, we had used a piece of cardboard. You can also use like a credit card. So because I can't spread it out nice and like precise with the glue tip or like the nicer tip, I'm going to go ahead and just spread it with my finger just to give it a little bit of direction. I don't want that big gloopiness or the big globs. Clearly I have plenty, aka too much. So we're going to put some of that back. Not that I'm worried about wasting it. I just don't have anywhere else to put it. So I'll put some of that back. And then I'll show you the way that we did this originally. Now, a couple of things to note. You're seeing that it is curling. Glitter glue is glue and glue is a liquid. So yes, this is going to curl. It is okay because in the next card, we're going to like use adhesive and stuff like that. So it's not an issue that it is curling. Okay, so don't freak out about that. And I'm doing this ahead of time because it does take some time to dry. So, okay, go ahead and use your paper to help spread it. Get it nice and spread however you are good with it. So, you know, some people might want more glitter, some people might want less. I'm just going to go back in with my finger and do a little. Seeing as how I'm already glittered up, what does it hurt to get just a little more? But yes, I am doing this ahead of time so that tomorrow, when we get to the point of needing it, it is dry. If you are making your card at the same time that you are doing this step, my suggestion to you is to do this absolutely first, okay? The first thing you want to do. It'll give you the most amount of time for it to dry, which is going to be imperative in you moving ahead. So go ahead, do this, let it dry. You might need to head into card number 11, do the stamping, get that stuff. If it's still not dry, you might be moving on to card number 12 or 13 or some of the other cards that you're doing and circling back to finish this. So that completes card number 10 and the prep for card number 11. Come back tomorrow when we'll actually make card number 11. But in the meantime, sending sunshine, rainbows, and bright skies your way.